Hello and welcome to Wise Words TV. Today I'm joined by Valeria, who is a leadership and career transition coach. You know, I said that right. Yeah. I keep wanting to say transformation, which I'm sure you do the transformation sides as well, but the transition coach. Okay, so nice to have you here today. Thank you so much for joining me. Tell me a little bit about how you got to where you are today in terms of the coaching and your career path, just to get to where you are at this point in your career.
Sure. Well, first of all, hi everyone, and thank you all for having me today. So sure, just a bit of a quick roundabout of kind of how I
Yeah.
got to where I am today, really. So I started out my career in financial services, and essentially I spent the entire career there in terms of what you would expect as your full-time role, employment role.
Yeah.
I climbed the ladder as part of it, transition from investment banking to private equity. Now I'm public sector, financial regulation. And as part of it, I almost by chance stumbled on coaching. I initially just wanted to be a good people manager, and that's a kind of how I got interested in it. And turned out I really fell in love with it. So it was a bit of a sliding moment for me at the time, which basically led me to pivot from a career perspective. So at the moment, I'm kind of living a typical portfolio career life, if you will. But my true passion really is coaching. So my focus now really is to work with those that will be navigating something that I'm navigating myself a while back, which is transitioning from being a technical expert, excellent individual contributor, very well renowned for doing great work, to someone that then needs to lead the work. And this, I see you nodding, so you will know that that quite different skills, and it's a transition that is challenging to navigate. But again, it's all about empowering people to make it and allow them to shine in this new stage of their career. So yeah,
Yeah.
that's how I got to where I am today, and kind of what I'm really passionate about, really.
Yeah. So what I was nodding because I do a lot of work in the coaching industry for writing for coaches, copywriting and things. So have that kind of experience of which a lot of coaches say is that people do their job and then get promoted till the point where they're not doing their job anymore. They're actually leading people who are doing their job. And then it's very hard. It's a whole different skill set. It's a whole different role. And how do you pull yourself away from doing the job that you've done for the past 30 years or whatever to come back and kind of lead people to do it? It's very, very tough. And um, yeah, I can see how it's something that well, is very much needed. What was it about coaching that really drew you in?
For me, is kind of helping people kind of develop themselves and reach their potential. It's I've always been someone who really kind of enjoys the one-to-one deep relationship building much more than broad surface level type of relationship building. And so I just basically coaching really gave me that space. Of course, even as a people manager, spending time with kind of my team is something that I find really, really energizing. But yeah, I think that would be that was very, very much the first step. I think the all the additional pieces are actually when you see what people can achieve as part of the work that we do together. I think coaching is really kind of a great space, and something that I can see so many people potentially benefiting from if they were to embrace it. We tend to put ourselves at the bottom of our priorities list in so many things. We don't give ourselves time. And what a luxury it is to decide that you want to spend 1 hour of your time completely focused on yourself and really understanding what really matters to you. We are in a bit of a hamster wheel very often, right? In and out of
Yeah.
meetings, and people ask us to do things for them. And again, sometimes we just need a moment to just pause and reflect and zoom in to what we really want and need. And so this
Yeah.
is what really coaching enables.
Yeah, it's such an interesting path, and I think yeah, to be a good, like, what would you say? Because I think, and I've read something of us think on your LinkedIn that you must have posted about the difference. I think yours was around the difference between coaching and mentoring, right? But also I think there's a lot of people that get confused between coaching and probably therapy. You get and coaching and facilitation. There's actually lots of different parts. So how do you describe your style of coaching?
Yes, I mean, that's spot on. I mean, there are so many things that technically you could do to support your development,
Yeah.
each to their own, right? Because everyone will need different things at different times. I think where I find people getting most confused is often the coaching and mentoring um, difference. And that's also one that I always try and kind of bottom out for people that come to coaching. Again, to your point, also what distinguishes my coaching style. But I think this is also kind of the crux of coaching in general, which is it's non-advisory.
Mhm.
And if you think about who asks most of the questions, as a coach, I would be the one asking questions to my client and allow them to really find their own answers and what is true for them. So again, the questioning skill, the active listening skill, the challenging skill, because sometimes we find ourselves saying or doing things out of a sense of duty or loyalty to someone else. And really coaching allows you to find what is really that you want. That is quite different from mentoring, right? Because you would normally seek a mentor who is very experienced in your field, that you admire, that is a role model, and you would go to them and ask them questions and
Yes.
expect them to share lessons or expect them to share advice, and you want to emulate them in a way. Whereas coaching is very much kind of driven by you. So that's kind of a key difference, and definitely something that is at the core of kind of my way of coaching with people. I think the other one on therapy is also quite interesting because um, emotions, the topic of emotions comes up in coaching quite a bit. It's definitely something that I'm quite passionate about myself. I've done also a bit of training and upskilling just to make sure that I can incorporate it, kind of safely and ethically in a coaching conversation.
Yeah.
What I would say kind of very quickly in terms of what is the difference between coaching and therapy is, coaching is very much about the present and the future, and therapy
Okay.
will be more about the past. So, there will be
Okay.
trauma to resolve. And obviously, in that case, you would want to work with someone else entirely or with someone else like a therapist plus a coach, and the coach will help you
Yeah.
focus on the future. But coaching is about, you wanting to get somewhere and needing the support to kind of bridge that gap between the now and the future you, right?
Yeah. Do you find that people almost expect um a kind of framework? And I know coaching has a lot, there are frameworks to use, and I know you've got your path framework, which I love. I want to get back to that because I love a acronym framework. But what I've forgotten where I was going with the question now. So I was going to say, do you find that people come into the session wanting to know what the outcome is going to be, or wanting almost like you to guide them to through almost exercises to get to a certain point? Do you find that with your clients, and how do you manage that?
I think it really depends. So,
Yeah.
everyone has different learning styles. There will be people that, they really like an exercise, and actually people that find it really intrusive.
Right.
So there is an element of learning style. There is also an element of need. So sometimes, you actually need something more practical to get where you need to get.
Yes.
And sometimes
Okay.
just need some thinking space. And
Yeah.
so kind of the way I work with clients is I meet them where they are.
Yeah.
So obviously there is a framework that, in a way inspires or kind of, I would say inspires the typical journey that I would take the client on. But this being said, there is always the opportunity, or actually I always make sure that I make it bespoke to what the client need, because
Yeah.
again, everyone's circumstances are different. And even within, kind of coaching journey with a client, which can be throughout the period of 6 months, sometimes things can happen. And, someone could just come to a session and they've got something that is really bothering them and they need to work through it. And, who am I to just force a framework, right? So I think that is probably how you want to see they're more kind of semi-structured to support us to see where we're going, to also support the client to kind of visualize how we're getting there. But within that, a lot is then about what is happening in their life, and also kind of the relationship that we're building, kind of.
Yeah.
One thing that is also worth pointing out, in coaching, is that ultimately the outcome of work with a coach is also influenced by the relationship between the coach and the client, inevitably, because it's two people meeting and then they click in different ways. And I think that's why I'm such a big fan of, kind of offering an opportunity to people that are interested in exploring coaching to meet you, just a free conversation to allow them to really understand, this is someone that actually I can do deep work and the right type of work with. And there are no hard feelings around then choosing the right coach for you, in that sense.
That's interesting. That is interesting. So the relationship between the coach and the client is you feel like there's some people that don't click. Like, I suppose what I'm thinking of is other professions, say, I don't know, your doctor. It's just they have the profession, have the know-how, and you as the patient come to them and they can kind of, but you feel like it's different in coaching, and that you do need to you need to click in some ways in order to get the outcome you need.
Absolutely. I think,
Right.
in coaching, kind of, it's important to feel comfortable, to be as open,
Mm.
as honest as you can be, because
Yeah.
the more, as a client, the more you are putting into the process, but also the conversation, the more you're able to get out of it. And realistically, it's hard for you to be able to do that if you don't feel that you have kind of the right level of, um, you know, um, chemistry, you want to call it. I don't know, I'm not probably a huge fan of the word chemistry, but you're not clicking with the coach in the right way. So
Yeah.
it's very much kind of a personal, it's human work, it's personal work.
Yeah.
And so yeah, it's for those that are interested in getting a coach, do take the opportunity. Most of them, obviously I do, but most of the coaches that I know, they do offer an opportunity to connect with them, for a free conversation, and do use that to really understand whether that is the right match. And again, it's not just about the tools and the training and the courses that they will have done. Of course, that is
Yeah.
very important. Do make sure that they have credentials and they are accredited with the three
Yeah.
bodies ideally. But then it's also about their style.
Yes.
And yeah.
Right. Interesting. Okay. All right. So moving on to the topic of wise words, which is kind of the theme of our chat. So you said you're kind of focusing a bit more this year on on the coaching side of your business and things. So um has there been a moment this year or something in the past year that you've said yes to that you're really glad you did, that was a wise yes, that you're like, and there's probably loads because you're shifting this way, but is there anything that stands out to you as being like, I'm so glad I said yes to that?
So I think actually it's probably what you just said, which is saying yes to focus more on my coaching business. So
Yeah.
I decided to take a career break from my full-time, what you might call as a 9 to 5 role,
Yeah.
in 2026. And it's not been an easy decision. I've always been, loving being part of a team, and actually I'm happy where I am in terms of, the day-to-day and the people I'm surrounded with. But I had this gut feeling that, I want to explore more, the coaching side, which is what really kind of gives me passion and fire in my belly, if you will.
Mm.
And so just making the decision to go for this, fully. I think this is probably the biggest yes for 2025.
Yeah, very exciting. So you plan to spend 2026 really focusing on this side. That's amazing. Wow, what an exciting year you have ahead of you. And I suppose as well, you can kind of, because what you're doing is you work within financial industry, right? And kind of tech, and that's who you're coaching as well. So you've got, it's not like a totally completely new audience, I suppose. You've got a few contacts and that kind of thing where you can draw on those existing relationships.
Yeah, absolutely. And it goes back to the point where I said, coaching is human and it's relationship. And obviously,
Yeah.
kind of having existing relationships there, of course, it's an important step. And I think again, there is also the element of having walked the same path and having been in the same rooms of the people that I would be working with. Because again, even
Yes.
if it's not about advice, there is an element of empathy and having an understanding of what the other person might be talking about and might be experiencing, and being able to really understand what it means to be going through certain situations.
Okay. Good. Well, very exciting for you. So you've got this, I suppose, this new path ahead of you. Is there anything is there like a quote or a mantra or even an affirmation or anything that you have that's really inspiring you and motivating you? Maybe you've got it stuck on a post-it note by your computer. Are there any wise words that's helping you focus in this new chapter?
I think for me, perhaps it's something that I just try to stand by in my life, and actually came from my mom when I was little. All in good time. It's
Okay.
I tend to be quite impatient. I tend to want things fast. I tend to move quickly in general. I just, kind of run around, and that's kind of my prime, like the way I'm primed. And I think just reminding myself to pause. And I suppose there is an element of, if it is meant to be, it will happen.
Yes.
Um, I think that's actually helped me a lot in staying grounded and also in kind of making sense of everything that happens or doesn't happen to me. And yeah, just approach the future with the right headspace, I think.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, yeah, I think that's brilliant advice. And a lot of people have the kind of the advice around um being brave, being bold, going for when they're starting something new. And I think like those ideas of it might be scary, but you can do it and all that kind of thing. And I think those are really motivating. But actually you're right in that things do take time, and if it's going to happen, as long as you're putting in the effort to take those steps towards it, eventually things should happen. And you can't always force the time, and I think that's a really good point. I could probably do with living by that a little bit more as well. I'm very much the same way, where I'm kind of like, right, I've made the decision to do this and I want it yesterday. So do you, with that mantra in mind, with that all in good time, do you like, is there anything you do from a kind of practical or productivity sense? Like, is there something you try and do one thing every day to move yourself forward, or is there anything there that you have been doing to get to the point where you're ready to jump into this full time?
I think just carving out good slices of time
Mm,
during each day, um, with the view that you are in it for the long haul. So again, not
yeah,
doing things, just really adjusting and finding the right amount that allows you to kind of move forward without then you burning out as part of the process. I think more than anything is probably just self-care as well. So I know that I need to take care of some primary needs to be able to perform and bring my best to everything,
yeah,
especially when it's about then having like doing business with clients. You do want to make sure that you're bringing your best self at
Yes.
every session. So for me, it's it's about getting good amount of sleep. Definitely something that I've learned how valuable that is once I've over the past few
Yeah.
years. Once you start actually being able to get the right amount of sleep, you realize how much better you are compared to when you were sleep deprived.
Yeah.
And moving every day in whatever form, but just making sure that I don't spend the entire day behind the screen and sitting, and taking care of these non-negotiables.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah, because I saw you do talk about burnout and that idea of overworking and getting to the point where you actually your body makes you stop rather than it being a conscious effort to slow down. Is that so taking that into this new chapter obviously seems like a really important point for you.
Absolutely, I think it's
Yeah.
the key for making things sustainable.
Yeah.
Um, yes, as you say, it's like once you basically bring yourself, end up in the situation where you can get out of bed because your body is telling you to stop, whilst your mind keep telling you go, then you start listening to yourself a bit more. So now, it's uh, these experiences, as traumatic as they might be in the moment, um, they can teach you so much, and definitely taught me so much in terms of what I need to watch out for and what I need to pay attention to be able I don't end up in a similar situation in the future. So you come out the other side much, much stronger for it.
Yes, yeah, and learn from it. Like you've obviously learned, and you're taking that into the new time. Okay, so last question from me. Another one around wise words. So, you mentioned earlier something your mum used to say, and obviously we've got lots of wise people in our lives that we extract different pieces of information and pieces of advice from. So, is there anyone that springs to mind for you as the wisest person you know, or maybe there's someone in the coaching world that you feel like is really wise? Is there anyone that you would like to that you look to and think, yeah, they know what they're talking about?
Yeah. So, well, I definitely have. I mean, if I were to pick kind of the wisest person in my life. Sorry, I'm going back to family again, but it would be my granddad.
Oh, right,
uh,
okay.
and I definitely grew up next to kind of this very big man who kind of people went to him for advice, and they always looked up to him. And he would always help people out and would always have time to like strike a good conversation with people. And I think that was so inspiring for me. I remember being kind of very, very like little and being in awe of him, and someone that kind of basically survived World War II. So he got kind of lot of things to teach in that
Yeah.
respect. So I think from a personal point of view, that's is always been kind of my role model. And if we look instead more professionally, I think in terms of um, someone that I really admire and I truly respect and actually enjoy devouring his work. I probably think of Adam Grant.
Okay.
Obviously, he's written a few
Also,
books.
yes.
My favorite one is Think Again, and uh,
Yes.
again, I really enjoy reading his work, and I definitely kind of agree with pretty much everything that he says.
Yeah.
It definitely inspires kind of how I lead myself in the day to day, but also kind of
Yeah.
like the lens that I bring in the coaching, in my coaching too.
So for anyone who doesn't know Adam Grant, what would you say is his main philosophy?
So he's an organizational psychologist.
Yeah.
And even so he's done is published various books. I think if to reference back the Think Again one, the core message is being willing and being open to unlearn, to relearn. And there is actually nothing bad about finding that what you thought was wrong, not attaching your identity or your self-worth to the ideas that you hold,
Right.
and actually embracing the fact that you might change your mind, and also be curious, like be curious with others and learn from others. And it's just a process, and you can keep kind of learning and improving and refining your views. So that's one, but obviously it's, I would encourage anyone, if perhaps you could start from that, and if you like it, you can do as I did, and then just move on to all the
Yeah.
other books. But is a fountain of knowledge when it comes to just performance in organizations, leadership, teams. So yeah, definitely recommend.
It's great when you find someone that you really resonate with the book, and then you find out that they've done loads of other books, and you're just like, wow, okay, I could really keep going here.
Yeah. It's wonderful and dangerous at the same time.
Yeah, yeah,
Sometimes
true.
you've got the pile of unread books that kind of grows faster than your ability to consume that, but it's
Yes.
a problem to have, I suppose.
Oh, brilliant. Well, thank you so much for being here today, Valeria. I've really enjoyed our chat. And where can people find you if they want to find out more about you?
Yeah, so you can find me on LinkedIn. I'm Valeria Collu, through my website, coachingstream.co.uk.
Okay, and I will share the links as well with the notes in this video. So thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you so
Bye
much.
bye.
Bye.
Brilliant. Thank